Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about the Michigan sign stealing scandal again. I've already made a couple videos kind of discussing this in the past, but now we have a lot of information that we need to kind of cover. For those of you who are new to the situation, basically the whole details is there was a assistant coach for Michigan, Connor Stallions. He has since then been fired. This Connor Stallions, he is a ex-military guy. He was with Michigan. Long story short, he was going to future opponents of Michigan's games, stealing the signs, getting intel. You're not allowed to do that in college football, and now he has been basically, I'm thinking is a scapegoat for Michigan, but now everybody's been kind of cracking down on Michigan and wondering, should Harbaugh be getting suspended? Should they be getting a fine? Should they get scholarships taken away? There's a whole lot we got to get into. I'm not sure how long this is going to take, so I'm going to go ahead and just get right into it. If you're going to enjoy today's video, as always, make sure you do drop a like. And without further ado, let's get into it. Real quick before I go any further, there are two links I'm going to have down in the description if you want to go check them out. There's going to be this link off of ESPN, and then there's going to be this link off of ESPN. They're both big articles. I'm going to be kind of going through and breaking them out as well in this video. But just in case if you guys wanted to go and read it for yourself, feel free to do so. That's totally okay. But like I said, I'm going to kind of go through. I'm going to break it down piece by piece. So let's kind of start off. We have this part here where it says there's an ongoing NCAA investigation regarding allegations of off-campus scouting and sign stealing from former Michigan staffer Connor Stallions. Like I said, but Petiti and the Big Ten sent Michigan its notice. If you do not know, Petiti, he is the Big Ten commissioner. And it says here, its notice as required by the sportsmanship policy, quote, in the event it becomes clear that an institution is likely to be subjected to penalties, quote. I might be a little bit confusing whenever I kind of explain this stuff. So like I said, if you want to read it for yourself and understand it first, go click that link in the description, the two links. But for me to kind of break it down, basically the way it sounds is, Michigan, as we know, at this point they've come out saying yes, we cheated, because them firing this Connor Stallions, that's their way of almost showing to us that yeah, we know that he probably cheated. So now they're trying to make it to yes, Connor Stallions cheated, we didn't cheat though. So it was before when Michigan was trying to almost make it sound like we did nothing wrong, nobody here did anything wrong. Now that you fired Connor Stallions, now it's almost like, what did you find that you need to let him go? And also with that whole situation, was he fired or did he resign? Because I've seen some people saying that it was a conjoined decision of they just both decided to split and go their own ways. Some people said he was fired. Some people said he just quit on his own. I don't know what happened there. But like I said, everybody has been saying that Michigan, they feel like they did nothing wrong. And I said this in previous two videos that I've already made on the whole situation. I'll put annotations to those videos up there if you want to go check those out as well. But basically kind of the whole way of the situation is, like I said, Michigan, they feel like they did nothing wrong. There was a point here in the past couple weeks where Michigan former alumni and even some analysts, some people that were trying to, and even NFL guys were trying to say, I don't really understand the situation. Like, everybody tries to steal signs. Here's where I'm going to put it down. I'm going to put my foot down on this. And I'm going to say it once, and I'm going to say it right. Yes, I understand football players, NBA players, baseball players. We all try to steal signs. I played baseball growing up. We tried to steal the signs from the other teams, even though it was Little League baseball that I played. We still tried to steal the signs. And I understand in football, you're looking across the sideline. You're trying to figure out and decipher the signals, the signs, what the other team's doing. That part of it is okay to an extent. What we are trying to get across to everybody's mind is what Michigan did with Connor Stallions going across the country to Ohio State, to Penn State, to Rutgers, to a Northwestern, to an Iowa. But it was just the extent of they sent him to these places. And for anybody that's trying to say, well, how do we know he didn't just go do it on his own? Before I go any further on that point, with Connor Stallions, he took it, I think, way too far. I'm going to say real quick, I think this was a two-man job. Speaking from the Connor Stallions point of view, you all saw the clip of him at the Central Michigan sideline. Some people say it wasn't him. I know damn well that was him. Because what coach, every single time the camera is panning towards you, do you put your hat down and look away, and you're wearing sunglasses at 9 o'clock at night? What the fuck are you doing? You're wearing sunglasses at 9 o'clock at night. You're putting your hat down every single time the camera looks at you. And at one point, the dude looked like he had a fucking rat face on when he kind of turned his head and looked away. He looks guilty. So we already now understand that he was guilty. He was out there doing this stuff. Now, my next question is, him as a coach for the Michigan team, I'm going to guess he's getting paid $80,000, $100,000 a year, probably being the coach or an assistant coach. He's not even a coordinator or a position coach. He is more of just a logistics, analytics type coach there on the sideline for Michigan. So I'd say max he's getting paid, what, 150 a year. Now let's take some math into this situation and wonder how much do you think it probably costs him to travel for planes, buses, fuel for his car, everything, tickets to get into a stadium. And to think, how much do you think it costs to sit at the 50-yard line of a field? You and I both know if you went to get tickets for a game, a lot of times we choose to sit in the nosebleeds because it's cheaper. Him sitting at the 50-yard line, he had to be dropping at least $100, few $100. Sometimes for some of the big primetime games, at least $1,000 for those tickets. So let's do some math. Let's look at some of all the teams that he had to be out traveling around playing against, or watching teams play against other teams of their opponents. Like I said, we got a 12-game season. He's probably going to be spending, let's say, $100 here, $200 here, maybe $500 here. I'm just going to do some basic summarizing math. The dude had been spending at least $5 grand on tickets, especially with the case of what they were saying where he was going to Big Ten opponents and also future opponents of teams they might play in the college football playoff. So they were at a Georgia. They even went to a TCU. This was reported on November 9th at the time of recording this. Heather Dinich, one of the CFP analysts, she announced that Michigan, Connor Stalions, he was also at some TCU games last season. So let's do some math. Like I said, $5 grand probably for tickets. I know you all are struggling with gas in this economy. The guy had to have been probably dropping at least a few grand on gas. He was buying plane tickets. The dude had to have been spending at least half his salary just on travel. If the dude was spending maybe half of his salary just on travel, tickets to the games, and etc., and probably disguises, the dude, like, how do you pay for your own bills? So that kind of begs the situation of, if this was the case, where is he getting the extra money from? Because if that's the case, Michigan had to be helping him. Like I said earlier, I'm probably not making any sense. So somebody correct me in the comments, what was his salary like? Because like I said, if it's like up around $100,000, $150,000 a year, maybe he had some money left over for bills. But if he wasn't getting anywhere near $100,000, the money he had to been spending on flight, gas, tickets to the games, the dude would have been broke. Now let's fast forward to a situation of where Connor Stalions, we already know he's gone, Jim Harbaugh. The big question that everybody was saying was, obviously for everybody that does not know, when you are the head coach of the team, you need to know what's going on in your entire facility. And that means from your players to your staff to the up in the director's department. It is your football team. You need to know what's going on in every square inch of that place. And it's a tough ask, but even Harbaugh, he has said it himself. It's my team. I need to know what's going on at all times in my team. So, big question. What would happen to Harbaugh if they do decide to find them guilty? It says here, in this part here, it says the league sportsmanship policy allows Petitti to impose up to a 2-game suspension and up to a $10,000 fine as a standard discipline, but any discipline exceeding those marks would fall under major disciplinary action and would require approval from the Joint Group Executive Committee, which includes officials from the several Big Ten schools. Now, the thing with them imposing a severe punishment on Harbaugh is I think Harbaugh at this point, he knows he's going to be getting some punishment. The thing is, Michigan doesn't want a punishment now. They'd rather wait till next season. For those of you who do not remember, Michigan, Harbaugh, he got suspended for the first 4 games of the season. This was more of a recruiting type issue. It wasn't anything super serious, in my opinion, but he got suspended for 4 games. 4 games for that. And the problem with that suspension was he got to be there at practice with his team. The only thing he couldn't do was be on the sideline at the games. And also the big thing that I didn't really understand about that suspension, it was 4 games against teams that we already knew they were going to blow out. Now, let's kind of discuss all the scenarios. Like I said, anything that could happen with Michigan. Like I said, we have the suspension, probably not going to happen this season. A fine, I could see that definitely happening this season. Could it be upwards of $100,000, maybe $1 million fine? Maybe. It's all going to come down to, I believe, some of the analysts on Get Up and First Take have said if they want to set a standard for every team from the Big Ten to the SEC, ACC, Pac-12, etc., they need to set a standard. They need to make these schools know, Michigan, look what they just did. They cheated. This is what's going to happen to cheaters. If they go out there and give Harbaugh like a game suspension and like $5,000, $10,000 fine, and that's it, oh, if I was ever seeing other team, I'd be cheating my ass off too. Now, if you can read down here, it does say if the Big Ten does impose discipline, Michigan and Harbaugh are expected to explore all legal options to push back against the league, according to the sources. So the big problem that's going on right now is, like I've said, Michigan, they're probably going to get a suspension of some sort with Harbaugh, probably going to get a fine. The big problem that's kind of going on right now is I feel like the reason why they don't want to do anything right now and the reason why it's a big trouble is because Michigan plays in the Big Ten. The Big Ten commissioner, he obviously wants a team from the Big Ten to go to the playoffs. Right now, the way the Big Ten's looking, there's two scenarios. I'm not going to really get into it of how a team could get into the playoffs. It's either going to be Michigan beating Ohio State and they go to the playoffs, which is what I think Tony Petitti is scared that's going to happen. And then if he were to suspend Michigan, then you don't have a team in the playoffs. But then again, if Ohio State does win against Michigan, obviously Ohio State goes to the playoffs. Michigan will be relying on the championship weekend to see what happens. But like I said with Tony Petitti, I think he's kind of in this scenario where he doesn't want to suspend Michigan right now and say, you're done, you can't go to the playoffs. Because what happens if Ohio State loses to Michigan? Then you just basically exiled a team from your own conference for going to the going to the CFP. So I'm gonna kind of go ahead and wrap it up as best as I can with this. Do I think Michigan is gonna get taken out of the CFP? No, that's not gonna happen. In the big picture, why that's not gonna happen is because the kids on the field, they are the ones that are trying to win this national championship. How are you gonna punish the kids when I realize they are part of the cheating in a way because they didn't speak out and say anything about like, why are our coaches cheating? You guys shouldn't do that. They just went along with it. But in the same sense, it's the coaches that started the cheating. They're the ones that need to take punishment. I think they're going to let the season play out. Michigan is going to play. I don't think Michigan or Harbaugh is going to get suspended. If something happens within the next few hours of when I post this and it says Harbaugh has been suspended, fine, whatever, I'm going to be pissed. But I do think Harbaugh is not going to get suspended. I think right now, he's not going to get fined right now. Maybe he gets fined, but I don't see it happening right now. Like I said, I can see Tony Petitti telling Michigan something big is going to happen to you punishment wise. We're just not going to do it right now. We're going to wait until the season concludes. When Michigan's season is over, whether it's against Ohio State, Big Ten title game, CFP, national championship, whenever their last game is, when their season officially is over, that's when the whole discussion is going to start. And believe me when I say, it's going to be a long fucking offseason. If I had to say a final word on what I think is going to happen, like I said, not going to happen this season, but I do think Harbaugh is going to get a hefty fine. He's going to get upwards of like $100,000 fine, I think. The university themselves, probably going to be up in the millions. It's going to be a hefty fine for them too. And I would say this, on the light scenario, maybe Harbaugh gets suspended for like four to 6 games, maybe 6 games next season, but they're going to try to find a way where it's like, they're going to look at their schedule, and I know the beginning of their schedule isn't too strong. So that's where people are going to get pissed off of, why are you suspending them in the beginning of the season? Those games you could win with or without them. But then on the heavy end of punishment, they could go to the extreme and say, Michigan, you are banned from playing in a bowl game this season and banned from the CFP. Like I said, I don't think that's going to happen, but if they had to go on the heavy end of punishment, they could go there. I don't think it's going to go that way, but I'm going to wrap up there. Other than that, that's all I got to discuss for today's video. Hopefully you guys did go to enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy today's video and stayed to watch the end of the whole video, thank you very much, and go ahead and drop a like. It's very much appreciated if you do so. If you watched the entire today's video, thank you very much, and you had a different opinion on kind of how the whole thing's going to play out. Do you think Michigan is going to get exiled from the CFP? Do you think Harbaugh's going to get suspended, fired? Could he get fired? I don't think it's going to happen, but do you think he's going to get fined? Do you think Connor Stalions could get brought back in and suspended / fine to the max? Let me know your opinion on kind of how you think the whole thing's going to play out down in the comment section down below. Be more than welcome to read about it and chat with you guys on it. If you are brand new to the channel and you're enjoying the content that I do post here, I upload sports content all the time, mainly Cleveland sports stuff. But when it comes to news like this, important sports news, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, college football, college basketball, whatever it may be, I do talk about it here on the channel. So if you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Down Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.